listening to Community Forum on KCCC 930 AM, sponsored by Eddy County, honoring God, country, and family, thriving with industry since 1889. Thank you for listening to Community Forum. My name is Johnny Chandler. I'm the owner of KCCC 930 AM and the host of Community Forum. And with me today for the first time is, I'm going to call new Eddy County Manager Mike Gallagher. I think maybe not even 6 months on the job yet.
Entering my second year.
Oh, so I'm way off. So
no, that's okay.
Entering the second year. Yeah, you did say January 2025 before we recorded, so my dates are obviously off.
Yeah.
What a great start, Johnny. All right, and then we have County Commissioner Bowen as well. Thanks for coming on, guys.
Pleasure to be here.
All right, so since this is the first time on, I've obviously have a few questions for you, but I would really like to introduce both of you to the community if they don't know who you are already. I'm sure that they do. But we probably have some listeners that aren't civically involved. So, Mike Gallagher, I'm going to start with you. Tell us a little bit about your history, your connections to Southeast New Mexico, what prompted a move to Eddy County.
Yeah, so I'll start with the move to Eddy County. Eddy County is a place where my wife and my kids, we've always considered to be a place where we wanted to live. I started as the county manager in Lea County in 2010, and oftentimes on the weekends we would come over to Carlsbad, we would come over to Sitting Bull Falls, McKittrick Canyon, a few other places. That's where we would hang out. The Trinity, we stayed at the Trinity a few times, and Eddy County has always been on our list. So I started as the county manager in 2010, moved to Lea County from Las Cruces for that position. I was there for 14 years. My last day on the job at Lea County was December 31st, 2024. My first day on the job in Eddy County, January 1st, 2025. Eddy County has a lot of favorable things in place, a lot of leadership that's very forward thinking, and I think Eddy County has a very, very bright future. And my family and I, we're very excited to be here. We moved here in January of 2025. We purchased a home here right away. My kids go to school here in Carlsbad. We love Carlsbad, love Eddy County, and this is home. And I'm very happy, and my wife and kids were very happy and thankful to be here. And we're blessed to have, I think, again, great employees at the county.
Right.
And we're working to build a strong relationship with all of our partners, all the entities here. And I'm happy to work with the commissioners that are on this board.
All right, great segue. Commissioner Bowen, tell us a little bit about yourself. What was your call to serve the county? And then we'll just go from there.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. So my first term started in 2022. I'm finishing my first term right now, running for re-election.
Yeah. So that's in November, right?
That's in November.
All right.
I'm unopposed, so...
Okay, good. So that means that you can say whatever you want because I don't have to give equal time to the other candidates. So if you want to promote yourself at some point in this half hour, do not hesitate.
No, I think that what we've been able to do over the last 4 years speaks for itself. But before that, really my call to get involved was during COVID.
Yeah.
You were able to see, Eddy County was kind of the exception. We weren't as significantly impacted as some of the others were across the state. But when you looked across the state and you saw people going back to school in person, you saw restaurants opening up, you could see people in Texas, Arizona, Colorado, every state around us going back to normal. And in New Mexico, we were still being hindered and having virtual learning. We couldn't go into a restaurant. We couldn't see anything. So we couldn't go and see our friends' family. We couldn't go to the hospital and see family members. That was where I kind of realized the importance of local government, something I'd never really looked at before. The commissioner that was there in my district before me was exiting and looking for some other things. Him and I talked, and I thought, man, this is something that I feel that maybe I can make a positive impact in, something I was pretty passionate about. And I have two young kids, and I wanted them to see that if you're not happy with something, rather than just be part of the problem, stand up and be part of the solution. Put your money where your mouth is and stand up and see what you can do to become part of the solution for the problem.
Right. I just remember that I lived in Albuquerque at the time. I worked for the city of Albuquerque, and I stayed home for like a year and a half. You know what I mean? I almost didn't do anything. We were going crazy, and you couldn't do anything. I remember I went to Taos to visit for one of my buddy's birthdays, and I had to show a vaccine card. I did get 2 shots. I regret that now, but I had to show a vaccine card to get into the steakhouse at Taos Ski Valley for the worst steak I ever had in my life. Right. It was just horrible. But so I remember that. So what my wife and I did is we literally traveled to Texas, Florida, New Orleans, Charleston. We did a whole lot of traveling to where you could go and actually have a little bit of freedom, which is what you were supposed to do. And it also really bothers me. There was such an impact on the community that here we are 5 years later, right? The anniversary in March, right? 5 years later. And it's still something that is pervasive in everything that we've done. And then you can also talk about the idea of how far behind it was with the students. And we had a daughter that was a senior in high school during COVID, right? In the middle of her senior year. And she got none of the experiences that she wanted. And it just really shaped her to the point to where she's like, I'm going to beauty school. Why would I stay in a traditional school setting if this is how it's going to be? So, I mean, I think we all know that the state was way too restrictive, and there was other states that led much better, which is a real libertarian model. The state do as well, you follow them, and then what they do well, you copy. What they don't do well, don't worry about it.
Yeah, that was one of the biggest things, was looking at my daughter. She was going to kindergarten at the time. So I had a son that my son was going into 4th or 5th grade. My daughter was going into kindergarten, and watching her step onto the bus with a mask on her face for her first day of kindergarten was unbearable for me. Watching her come home and take the mask off and feel like she was breathing for the first, that stuff was just so hard to stomach. And, you know, obviously the county wasn't setting those policies, but you were able to see the impact that your local leaders could have. And that was really what was my motivating factor in getting involved.
So you were. Oh, so please go ahead, Mike.
I was just going to say that, you know, my wife and I, we have 5 kids, and I'm originally from St. Louis. I have a lot of family in St. Louis and in Missouri. And during that time period, you know, our kids couldn't go to school. We actually purchased a homeschool program, a homeschool curriculum for our kids. So I'm talking to my sisters, and we're, you know, just sharing stories one afternoon, and we started complaining a little bit about New Mexico and some of the policies. My sister Julia, who lives in St. Louis, she's like, "What is your problem? I don't understand what the issue is." Like, well, the issue is this afternoon, your kids have soccer practice.
Right.
Your kids are going to school. My kids are still at home.
Right.
My kids can't go to the park. I took my kids to a state park in northern New Mexico. We rented a cabin, and there was literally yellow tape that showed you could not go into the state park. So I said, so how it's being handled in Missouri, how it's being handled where you live versus how it's being handled here, there's a big difference. And she's like, yeah, so kids can't go outside and play.
Yeah, right.
They can't have soccer practice, but your girls can.
Right. No, that's
big difference.
And the reason it's still relevant is it's absolutely the way the state's mandates came down was ludicrous, right? That's a pretty good word to sum that up. But the problem is nothing has changed in law or anything to where that could very easily happen again. And we do know that we were under an executive emergency order under the state, under this governor for probably 2.5, 3 years. It was really like just continuously to where it was like almost a joke. So when you do that to the population, the next time that there is some type of executive emergency order that could be a legit thing, are we really going to even be bothering with it, right? And then I love what Joe Rogan said on one of his specials. He's like, before COVID, I was for sure we landed on the moon. Now I'm not even sure anymore, right? So everything has really changed. But to segue back to the leadership positions that you two have in this community, Bo, I want to start with you because you were on the commission before County Manager Gallagher was hired, right? So I'm kind of interested in what you saw and what the board saw, because you guys had to vote for it, right? You were the deciders, right? So I'm kind of looking for what you saw, and I know that the previous county manager, who I think was interim, is still with the county, or she was at some point for a little while. She was CFO, right? I remember going to the meeting about the courthouse, right? And she kind of got lit up a little bit. And but she was a very valuable employee and a very valuable member of the county. So I'm glad that she's still sticking around, or if she was for a little while afterwards. So go ahead and get into the idea of why Mike Gallagher was the right hire and kind of what was the mindset for that and moving the community forward.
Yeah, so there's actually been 4 county managers during my 4 years of serving on the commission. So maybe I'm the problem. No. But in reality, when I first started, Al Davis was. He had come in and he was retiring. We appointed Roberta Gonzalez, is who you're referring to.
Yes, that's right.
She came from the finance department. She was here in the county manager role for about a year, I believe. We had the courthouse, our town halls, and all of the fun that involved. And she decided that finance was more of her what she liked better than actually being the manager, and I
Right,
don't blame
right.
her for that, because it's a very difficult dynamic position. After that, we brought in an interim county manager, Steve McCutcheon,
Right.
Senior,
Yeah.
and he was basically a placeholder till we could find the right candidate. We didn't want to rush to the first person that came in and said they were willing to sign up for the job. We wanted to actually screen a bunch of different candidates. We had multiple applications, we had multiple interviews, and we were looking for 6 months or more. Had held multiple interviews, and we were getting to the point where, man, this is getting tough.
Yeah. Right.
And fortunately, Mike decided to throw his name in the hat. When he came down, he submitted his resume, and after the interview, I think the commission, there was 2 exiting commissioners as well as the 2 incoming commissioners who had just been elected, were all in the room, and I think it was pretty unanimous that he was the right person for the job. His experience, the parallels between Lea and Eddy County, and then seeing where Lea County is in comparison to Eddy County. We very similar in our industries that we have here. And Lea County always seemed to have maybe just a little bit more than we did.
Right.
And he was the person that was steering that ship for the last 14 years. We thought, man, this would be big for the county if we were able to get somebody like that in here. So it was a pretty simple decision once he decided to throw his name in the hat.
Right. I think I'm going to say it's a very smart decision. I really like the idea of the continuity of the Eddy Lee Energy Alliance and everything that we're working on together in that regard. So to me, that seems to make a lot of sense. And then the reason that, for me personally, that I think that the idea of Lea County and Hobbs maybe is held in a little bit higher regard in Carlsbad, and I'm trying to choose my language carefully here, right? But the idea is that when I moved here, Mayor Janaway was really happy that I bought the radio station. He supported me right away. I had no money. I was using my regular job money to fund the radio station. And he says that we compare ourselves to Hobbs, right? He says that's who we compare ourselves to. So he had some Hobbs envy as well. And I don't have Hobbs envy because they have a Texas Roadhouse and we don't, right? You know what I mean? That's not what I have Hobbs envy for. But they do seem to attract more things than we do. But we are now in a position, I think, as Eddy County to grow faster than Lea County is, especially in the shift in the oil and gas industry. WIP is like a shared resource between the two as well. And I really appreciate the state legislatures and maybe the federal delegation at the time WIP was being decided to make Carlsbad the headquarters for, the Los Alamos National Lab, Sandia National Lab. So that would be the process. So Mike, let's get into let me ask, what's the most challenging thing so far in your 2 years as county manager?
Most challenging thing for the last 2 years as county manager. I think we've had a lot of rewards, a lot of successes in the last 2 years. I can't really think about the most challenging thing. I can think of the things that I'm so far very proud of that this commission has accomplished and the employees have accomplished. And I think maybe one of the items that was most challenging, and this is going to be maybe a segue into a project that the county commission has spearheaded.
Great.
We had some challenges finding a right home for us.
Right.
So, we in January, and maybe it was partly the time of the year, January of 2025, we started looking for a home. One weekend, we were scheduled to look at 7 homes. Ultimately, we ended up putting an offer on the 8th home.
Right.
And some of those homes that we looked at, some were kind of outside of our price range.
Right.
And some were just didn't check all the boxes. And so I think for us, it was, and we knew that. We had an understanding of the limited supply of housing. That being said, there's a lot of opportunity here.
Right.
And I think it was very cool that the county commission, we talked and we said, hey, we have some funding left over from the previous year. And of that, the commission said, let's take about half of that and invest it in the communities within Eddy County to drive more housing options.
Right.
And that, to me, that's a big item for the commission to say, hey, we're going to do this. As we were talking earlier, or I think maybe Commissioner Bowen talked about something regarding put your money where your mouth is.
Right.
And the commission has done that. They said, hey, Artesia, Loving, Carlsbad, here's $15.5 million.
Right.
Tell us what you want to do with it to promote more housing here.
That's not a small amount of money either for that.
It's not. And it happened, I'm going to say, relatively quickly. The commission already had lots of discussion about it. Roberta has done a great job on the budget to where, in part, we could have this funding as well as the commission. So it's a matter of, can we afford it? Okay, yes. Second, will this accomplish what we need accomplishing? Will this get us what we need?
Right.
And it will. And the commission, has allocated, I think it's just over $4 million for the city of Carlsbad. Doesn't mean there can't be more available,
right,
but it's going to be on a project by project basis. And for me, it was a little bit, I guess, to an extent, challenging, just learning the players and the personalities and learning the dynamics of the community. And each community has their own special, unique dynamics and characteristics that you have to be aware of.
Yeah. And
I thought it was cool that this commission said, let's put up $15.5 million and get some homes here.
Right. That's key. And now, what level of home? Either one of you can answer this question. What level of home are we trying to get into this community? Are we trying to build $1 million mansions? Or what are we trying to build and hopefully attract?
The county's not building anything because
that's true.
Not our
right.
That's not our place to do so. However, this is for affordable housing. Both Artesia and Carlsbad have some affordable housing initiatives that they're trying to bring in. Mayor Lopez, I know he's been on here. He's talked about their plans and their price range. If I'm not mistaken, it's somewhere in the low $300,000, $250,000 to $300,000.
Right. I think they're trying to go $250,000, $300,000, which is good. And so, for somebody that has a house, and if I ever wanted to sell it, I don't want my housing value to drop. Of course, that's pretty but that's of course, that's anybody that owns a home, and so that's not going to compete with us. So I'm very happy about that. Just so you know, right?
That's good.
That's a big thing. So, you guys provide the funds, but then what type of oversight are you bringing to make sure that these projects come to fruition, considering it is county money?
Yeah, so I think we have an agreement in place with the city of Carlsbad, and there are certain milestones that they have to reach prior to the county providing that funding.
Right.
And a certain level, we have to have a little bit of, I won't say leniency, but we have to be able to work with them. They're a partner in this, and they have to be able to work with us. We're a partner to them. We're both partners. And the goal here isn't to play, gotcha. Hey, you didn't submit this paperwork on the exact due date,
right.
So we're withholding the funding. The idea here is we have our set of rules. They have their set of rules. We have to operate within those confines. We get it. But while operating within those confines, how can we work together to have more homes built so it's a little bit easier for the county to hire more sheriff's deputies? It's easier for the school district to hire more teachers.
Right.
It's easier for the county to hire more detention officers. I'm not going to mention making it easier for the city because we're competing with them for employees.
Right,
but
that's true.
they also get that benefit. So the thing that would I think keep a community, one of the items that would keep a community from reaching its full growth potential in terms of individuals living in a community is the availability of housing. Right. And
affordable housing.
Yeah, affordable housing and a variety of housing. Affordable housing is a start, and I feel very confident that we're going to see success out of this program between the county and the city of Carlsbad. And everyone in Eddy County and the city is really a beneficiary because when you open up more housing stock, you make it. We have a lot of folks that are actually living in Roswell and in Travis County who are doing work here in Carlsbad. Those individuals, we need to have them here.
Agreed.
And that helps our tax base for the school district. It helps our retail. It helps. That's just all good.
Helps our census population. All those are big things that you need to attract more businesses. As we start talking about kind of the thought behind this, once we realized we had the availability, we had the additional funding, we had the money that was there to help support some of these programs that the cities were looking at, we were looking at how to divvy up that money. And one of the ways that we originally thought about it was population base. Well, that would leave roughly $9 million to Carlsbad, 5-ish to
and Loving would
Artesia,
get what,
and
right?
Loving gets a couple $100,000, and Hope gets a wave. You know,
right.
And it's thought, well, that's not fair.
Yep.
Let's give everybody an equal opportunity. What projects do you have that are shovel ready? What projects do you have that you can bring to commission and say, we are ready to get started on this? It's not just an idea. We actually have plans. We're ready to go. We just need the additional funding. So as they brought in their plans, they brought in their ideas. It was a case by case basis. So there was nothing set that said Carlsbad's guaranteed this amount or Artesia's guaranteed this amount. It was kind of a competition.
Right.
You know, I'm a big free market person.
Sure.
I love the idea of competition breeds greatness. So it was, hey, we're putting this out here. You guys come with the best proposal. You come with the fastest proposal. First come, first served. And it was very interesting to see how quick the communities were able to come together and present us with multiple options and how we can move forward with it.
So you don't get something for nothing. You're going to have to put in a little bit of effort on your own as well. And then I wanted to ask, so I think that historically, and I believe the mindset is changing, but historically when somebody mentions affordable housing, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, in the past, and I know the difference between it now for sure, and I have for many years, but the idea that affordable housing is you're going to build a Section 8 apartment complex across from my home, or you're going to end up, allowing people that haven't worked hard to earn that house to live next to my home. And also, I don't want to give either one of you the opportunity to debunk what the definition of affordable housing means now.
That is an extremely broad, relative, and often misleading term.
There you go.
But I think that affordable housing is housing that's available for people that are they're building their first job, whether it's out of high school, out of college, they're trying to start their family, start their career path. Maybe they've come from this happens quite a bit. You have people that are coming from out of state that have maybe gone through some life changes, a new wife, new husband, looking for a place that they can afford. That is what I think the goal of this target market is to find that type of person that isn't necessarily the Section 8 housing like you were talking about.
Right.
It is people that are members of the workforce, but because of oil and gas and the economy that we have here,
right,
we're a victim of our own success. That our limited amount of housing has blown the housing market way out of control, way out of proportion. If you look at equal houses around in the surrounding areas, you look at Lubbock, you look at Albuquerque for similar square footages, they're significantly less
right
than they are here. So this kind of helps to not bring down values of homes like you were talking
right.
about earlier, but it does open the door for people to get into a home, in a home that they can be proud of, a home that they can be comfortable in.
You don't know how many, in my job at Southeast New Mexico College as Director of Workforce Partnerships, you know how many safety, especially safety professionals within the companies that are here, right? And I met, before Aris Water Solutions sold to, I think it's Western Endeavor or something of that nature, I met a couple of safety guys. I was like, you need to come to the college. We can do training for you. We can help you out. Whatever you need, we can cater to you. And they're like, oh, yeah, well, I'm here for 14 days, and then I'll be in Mississippi for the remaining 14 days, right? So my questions to everyone that I meet that comes here to Eddy County or Carlsbad and does 14 on and 14 off is like, why don't you move here? Why wouldn't you move your family here? This is where everything is, besides having 2 weeks off, which might be nice. But why wouldn't you move here? And their very first question is housing, right? Is how expensive housing is. I don't feel like that was the case when my wife and I moved here. I thought some of the housing was pretty good, but I also think maybe we just got lucky. You know what I mean? We found one that we really loved that was a great price. Plus the interest rates were going crazy at that time too. So I'm really happy with that. You know what I mean? But those things of that nature. So anything else on affordable housing? So you guys are doing great on that. And it's not your guys' project, right? It's the municipalities' projects that you guys have given them money for.
Yeah.
Can you or are you willing to tell us what do you hope to see in 3 years?
Yeah, so for 3 years, I would like to see fewer cars driving back and forth between Carlsbad and Roswell, commuting back and forth from work. That's one. I would like to see folks that are currently living in Roswell and in Chaves County or elsewhere in New Mexico. I want to hear about them having conversations at the dining room table with their partner or their spouse, like, hey, maybe it's time for us to consider moving to Carlsbad.
Right.
They have some more homes here. I think a success is that that this funding that's being provided to the city of Carlsbad, and I say provided, this partnership between the county and the city, we're going to have homes built, right? Homes that are not subsidized, right? Not subsidized housing, and that's not the target here. But we're going to have homes built. We're going to have apartments built that will allow more folks to consider living in Carlsbad. And that's going to be the success. When we see that there are an increase or there's more kids enrolled in the elementary school and in the middle school, when we see that enrollments are up and those people are living here, that's a success. And we're going to have more in the queue, right? Success is momentum, right? And hopefully in 3 years, it's like, hey, there's more. Hopefully there's more projects and so it should be an ongoing effort.
Yeah, more people bring more opportunity as well, right? So you've got somebody that comes here that has a great job, can live in Carlsbad and put their family in a great school district and things of that nature. And then they turn around and their wife or their spouse, if it's vice versa, is starting a business or offering something that somebody else doesn't offer, right? And so that it's just reciprocal, right? So $1 spent equals $6 somewhere else, and that type of that's not exact, just the example, but that's kind of how it necessarily works. Now, I do have another question for you guys that I did not prep you for or ask for, but I remember
here it comes. Here comes the question.
No gotcha questions here, but
all right.
The idea is I remember a couple of years ago some discussions about BLM and potentially Eddy County and some acreage that was going to be transferred over, something of that nature. And so I haven't really heard an update on that. And the federal government is the federal government. So, what do we is there an update on that? Bo, I think you might have a little bit of knowledge on that.
Are you referring to the BLM land that the city's looking at?
Maybe. So that's what I was trying to question. I wasn't sure.
That's a city project,
okay.
not a county. And I just everything I know is through the grapevine on that.
Okay.
It's, not really something that I feel confident in.
No, that's
explaining.
That's good.
That's definitely city.
I'll write a note right here to ask Mayor Lopez to see how that project was going.
Because that's the base of their affordable housing project on the north side of town, off of the George Shoup Relief Route.
Right, exactly. Where you got Callaway and George Shoup Relief Route, and that's where they built that new road all the way to Artesia.
Yeah, Captain Williams that goes that way, and there's 500 acres, I believe, that they were in negotiations with BLM, and it just continues to run into roadblocks, but we haven't been involved in that.
And you'll also learn quickly that my pride can't be hurt just because I asked a question that's irrelevant. You know what I mean? So don't worry about that at all. So, literally, that's almost 30 minutes already, guys. So we have a couple minutes left. And is there any topics you guys wanted to bring up? Anything you wanted to talk about that I did not ask that you want to share with the community? I'm open to that.
We ended on, as we were talking about that 500 plus acres, you mentioned, one of the words that was used at the end of that was roads.
Right.
And I just want to share that, at Eddy County, we have more than 1,200 miles of roads that the county is responsible for. And there's always a really good, easy way to know whether you're on a county road or a city road or a state road. And those are all different owners here. So some roads here are owned by the state,
right. Some
roads are owned by the city, and some roads are owned by the county. The roads without any potholes, the ones in the best condition, those are going to be owned by the county. Okay. No, seriously, our road department does great. Hazer Archer, our public works director, he oversees our road department with our road superintendent, Nathan. They're going to give an update next week to the county commission about some road projects that we have planned in the upcoming months. Part of these are roads that the commission had said they want to see accomplished, and we're going to get some feedback from the board members. But right now, we have in the works more than 64 miles of roadway. Again, these are going to be county roads, north of $8 million in investment. And it's various roads from Pipeline Road to Carrasco Road to Kelly Road to there's a variety of them. I know they're outside the city limits,
right.
But the traveling public, the folks that are on these roads are also reside in Carlsbad.
Right.
So roads, always an important topic, always a priority for the commission. We take that seriously. And next week, Hazer is going to talk about more than 60 miles of roads, 60 miles of road work that we have planned during this next couple months.
All right. Excellent. Commissioner Bowen, any kind of final words as we close it out here?
As When I took over this, or when I was elected in 2022, I had really no clue what my path was going to be. I just knew that I would, I'd listen to all the issues, listen to all the problems, listen to all the different sides of the argument, and try to find the best solution for the people of Eddy County, whether they're in my district or countywide. And as I look back over these last 4 years and going into the future, it's nice to see some of the successes we've talked about. You brought up the courthouse.
Right.
I think that was a hot button issue for quite a while. And it was my second year on commission. I was the chairman at the time. And it was interesting to hear how passionate people were on certain things. It was interesting to hear the perspectives that they had, perspectives that I had never considered. And it really made me evaluate my role as a commissioner. As an elected official, you're there to elect the people that have put you into the office. And if you're not listening to them and listening to what they're saying, then you're really not doing your job. You're taking it from the position of, I know better than you because I have more information. And while there may be some truth to that at certain times where you have more access to information, you still have to listen to the people that have put you in those positions. So as I look at that and then look at some of the successes we've had with the daycare center that's going to be opening up soon, and joint partnerships with the school district and private nonprofits here, it's pretty exciting for what we've been able to accomplish in 4 years and what we have in store for the future. I'm looking forward to it.
What's your plan after your second term? Because you're going to get termed out. Do you have any idea, or is that just way too far on the horizon?
Just continue to work. I have no plan to do anything politically. Politically, I am done in 4 years, and I'm happy to. I'm very satisfied with that.
You're getting started. Sounds like state senate, state representative.
No desire.
Okay.
No desire.
All right. And then county commissioner or county manager Mike Gallagher. Gallagher, I do want to give you the last word for sure, being the county manager. Sum up anything you'd like to say.
If anything, the last word should go to our commission chair.
to the elected official.
To one of the officials that I report to. You know, I'm just happy to be here. I think Eddy County has a great team. We got a great group of elected officials, the commissioners, but also the other elected department heads. I've been very fortunate that this community has welcomed my wife and my family. It's been great, and I think, you know, the commission has, I believe, set some. They have high expectations. Let me rephrase it. They have expectations where they want to see this county grow, this county be a leader. And that's what we're working on, and that's what we're going to be, and it's a step-by-step process. But everything that we're working towards is for the betterment and continued betterment of Carlsbad and Eddy County.
All right. Well, thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for the time.
You're listening to Community Forum on KCCC 930 AM, sponsored by Eddy County, honoring God, country, and family, thriving with industry since 1889.